Hello, everybody. Welcome to End Times Talk and good morning. I hope you're all doing well. Um, it's a pretty well known fact that the United Nations has come out and said that, they're talking about a billion, and we'll say that, kind of shortening it a little bit, but around 8 billion people, 8.5 billion people exist on this planet, nearing, 9 billion, right? There's quite a few people on the planet now. And they say that a billion, so 10%, we'll just say, or a little over 10%, are going to be displaced, moved around by climate change. I also believe that the United Nations replacement migration agenda plays a hand in this as well. And yesterday, even just touching upon that subject real quick because I'm going to get into that later on as well. But there was a migrant that admitted to Nick Shirley. It was Nick Shirley. He was the guy that was interviewing him. I need to find this footage. Um, but Nick Shirley was interviewing this migrant. Hold on, let me see here if I can just pull up the clip. Hold on. Yep, here it is. I'm going to bring this up for you guys here because I'm just going to let you guys see this first because I actually didn't even have this planned, but I'm throwing it in here because it's like the Lord just brought it to me right off the bat. But so here's this clip. All right. And this migrant right here says to Nick Shirley that the United Nations is paying him to migrate. Listen to this.
How long have you been here in Ireland for?
9 months ago.
9 months. What country are you from?
I come from Jordan, but I'm from Syria.
And how are you being received here in Ireland?
Very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice for me because I come in from Jordan and from Syria before. I come, there, everything not good.
What makes so many migrants want to come here to Ireland?
How I come to Ireland?
Yeah.
From UN.
And how come you wanted to come to Ireland?
I ask, okay, when call me somebody from UN, he tell me, can you go to Sweden, to Germany, to 5 countries maybe. But I know my friends here in Ireland, very good, everything in Ireland. I'm Muslim, here no problem. Here no having seen another country, you Arabic, not Irish, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I live here with everyone.
Where do you live? Do you have house or do you stay in the hotel?
No, I'm in Aerox Center now. But maybe after 1 month, I'll go to a new home from County Council.
Okay, so does Ireland give you any money every month?
Yeah.
How much money do they give you?
Every month. Every week. I'm married. I have 3 daughters, my children. I take same €500 in 1 week.
So every week the Ireland government gives you $500?
Yeah.
And you, where are you from?
Sorry, I don't speak English.
He coming with me.
How many people came with you to Ireland?
For me, 100%.
How many family or friends came with you to Ireland?
With me coming, no, 9. 9. 9.
9 people came with you here to Ireland.
9 families. But after me coming also maybe 30 families from Jordan, and Lebanese.
Oh, 30 more families. How did you get here to Ireland? Did you come through Belfast from Northern Ireland?
No. I come direct from Jordan to here.
How long do you plan to stay in Ireland?
I want forever.
Forever.
I'm Irish now.
So you and the 30 other families that came in here plan to stay forever?
Maybe. I'm not sure. For me, I tell you. Mm-hmm. I want to stay here forever with my family.
So, there's a lot to unpack there. He says that he came from Syria, moved to Jordan, which is both of these are next to Israel, and they're Muslim countries, and and was brought by the United Nations. He said the UN twice. He said the UN twice. And he said that they pay him $500 a week for him and his two daughters to live in Ireland. And then when he came over, what was interesting that Nick Shirley kind of missed in the moment when he was interviewing him, he thought he said 9 people. If you listen closely, that migrant said 9 families. 9 families. And at first he said about 100 people. He said 100, and then he said about 9. And then he said 9 families. And then he said after him, there were 30 families. You see what I'm saying? And the United Nations is giving them money to move to Ireland. I'm telling you right now, my brothers and sisters in Christ, the same thing is happening here. All right? The same thing is happening here. And so we know that along with the replacement migration plan, which there is a UN document, you can look it up on Google, type in replacement migration PDF, UN PDF, you'll find it. But there's also where the World Economic Forum, which works hand in hand with the United Nations, same people, same plot, same plan, Agenda 2030, New World Order, okay? They say that over 1 billion people, over 10% of the world's population, are going to be displaced by climate change. And I remember when there was that guy that worked for CNN, all right, that got busted by Project Veritas when that was still going pretty strong. They busted him for, it was something about propaganda about Trump, like, you know, just their goal. He was saying their goal was to make people hate Trump, you know, like that was their goal, right? But then he said, now we're being told to focus on climate change and climate crisis, right? And he said, that's going to be the new flavor of the week, he said, soon. And it is, and it's growing. And we've seen all these different, you know, wildfires and floodings and hurricanes and tsunamis and massive earthquakes and all these different things, you know, these beginning of sorrows, if you will, that have been taking place. And they're saying that 1 million people, or sorry, 1 billion with a B, are going to be displaced by climate change. You know, in Matthew chapter 24, it talks about the beginning of sorrows. It talks about wars. Listen carefully. Wars and rumors of wars, nation rising against nation, kingdom against kingdom, famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. Then you got in like Mark where it talks about distress of nations with perplexity, with the sea and the waves roaring. Not one time in any of the beginning of sorrows scriptures that where it's being talked about in the Gospels does it say that God is doing any of it. If you go back to the Old Testament and if you go into the book of Revelation, you will find it'll say, you know, God will say, I will shake, I will break, etc. Right? He'll break the bow of you know what I mean? So like what I'm saying is that God will stake claim to when he's going to do a shaking, when he's going to move things. All right. But if you notice in Matthew chapter 24, in the beginning of sorrows, these are all man affected crises that are taking place. And I truly believe that the climate change agenda is a man made issue. It's not greenhouse gases or blah, blah, blah. Anyways, it's not any of that. I believe this has to do with, you know, the stuff in the skies being sprayed, the frequencies being sent out from antennas and HARP and CERN, and, you know, all the different earthquake machines that they have, the satellite, you know, that can project frequencies into the earth. All of this stuff, I believe, is going to be used to bring about this massive migration of people and this displacement that they want to see take place. When as I've researched these things and researched the New World Order and researched concentration camps, one thing I find out is that they want to separate families. They are going to ship you a far ways off. They're not going to keep you in your state. They're, you know, people in New York are going to go to Alaska and people from Alaska to New York, and they're going to separate man, woman, and child when you're in these facilities. And that's exactly what they did to the migrants when they came into America, is they separated men from women and children All right. And I knew someone that knew people were coming into America, and they purposefully split the families apart. They want to destroy the family unit. They don't want any sort of unity whatsoever. And they sent sister and niece and nephew over here, and then they sent, the uncle over here and the mother over here, is what I've been told personally by people that have talked to illegal migrants coming into the country. I have a buddy that speaks fluent enough, Spanish, that he was able to gather that and how these things worked, even during, like, the quarantine and all this stuff that was taking place. And so they want to spread things out. And so the replacement migration idea is that of an idea, but there's also the physical behind it, and they want to manipulate the elements enough, the weather enough, to be able to cause this breaking apart of the family unit, and families, breaking up and going abroad and this and that. All right. And we're going somewhere with this, but I want to start by talking about the climate change aspect of this. Give me a moment here. And this is no joke. I looked into this. All right. Like, this is the real deal. Hold on. Give me a moment here. And I don't know why. There we go. This is the real deal. I checked into this. This is real news. I kid you not. All right. There is about to be summer snow in Montana and Idaho, in parts of Montana and Idaho. I have a friend that lives right near this area. A few friends that live right in this area, so I'm going to kind of keep in contact with them. At the higher elevations, they're saying they're expecting 8 to 16 inches in the middle of summer. All right? I'm telling you, in the middle of summer. This is telltale signs that this is man-made. I mean, this is not something that happens often. These things can happen, yes, but I mean, it's just insane. And, they predictably tell you that they're going to do these things. They're not only telling us that there's climate crisis coming, and they want to make it look like that climate crisis is beginning to happen, but also we cannot put all our eggs in one basket and say, oh, it's all of man, causing all of all these weather wars, we'll call them. All right, we still have to remember that God is bringing about things and allowing things and shifting things toward where it's prophecy being fulfilled. And there are times where God just outright, I believe, allows selective judgment of a specific area, maybe because of an embedding an undertone of witchcraft in the area that's growing, or human sacrifice, or just just whatever, innocent blood being shed, whatever. God will correct things when things get out of control. I mean, look at Pompeii, dude. Look at Sodom and Gomorrah. There's all these events that have happened in these areas where sin was just running rampant. I mean, I could tell you about Pompeii and the things that were happening before that volcano blew. I'm telling you, it's right, straight out of some nastiness happening up in some brothels and stuff. Like, they got all sorts of history in that area that talks about the things that were happening back then. And it was bad. So there is such thing as selective judgment. I don't think that's what's happening here with the summer snow, but I want to point out that they're saying that we're supposed to get snow this summer. All right. And I want to point out something that I pointed out last year. All right. And that is the Mountain Dew, and it's known as Summer Freeze. This Mountain Dew that came out last year, and they're coming out with it again. It's called Summer Freeze. And we've all seen the Mountain Dew that had the Maui Blast or whatever. Right. But here's the thing. I'm telling you, and I wish I would have kept one, man. At one point, I kept one around, but I kept the original label of the Mountain Dew Maui Blast or whatever, okay? And I kid you not, it has the tikis, and it has it has like some kind of electricity in the background. And then Maui happened. And then the wildfire in Maui happened. They brought in that hurricane. They brought in some direct energy weapons, and they started a wildfire. And there's a bunch of kids that come up missing out of that crisis. I don't even know what happened to those kids. That's something I need to look into, man. What happened to those kids? It's like, dude, there's a whole bunch of kids just disappeared off the face of the earth, and no one knew where they went. Nothing like that. wild stuff. But they projected that cataclysm, that crisis from Mountain Dew. I mean, you have Mountain Dew Pitch Black where people are saying, there's a coming blackout, whatever. But they come out with Mountain Dew Summer Freeze last year, and now we're getting summer snow. All right, you get what I'm saying? I'm trying to show you that they predictably tell you what they're going to do to you. All right? And hold on, let me reopen that for a second. Hold on. I want to reopen that for a second here. Hold on. Because I closed it out. So if you notice, and I want to show this right here. If you notice, what does that look like to you? On the whole entire package, right? On the whole entire package, there's no fireworks, right? And the bomb pops, can be called fireworks, like Faygo, the soda pop out of Michigan that they make that that one rap group ICP talks about all the time. They have a pop brand called Faygo, all right, and they make a bomb pop soda called Firework, all right. But I find it interesting that that's called Firework, but you also have these actual fireworks going off. It's around July 4th right now, okay? And it's damn snowing in Montana and Idaho. So right around July 4th, there's a summer freeze coming, and that's exactly what's happening right now this year. And I don't know. I mean, I look at the little things sometimes, and I'm like, dude, wild stuff. But it goes further than that, though. They had, give me a second here. They had a movie come out called Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. And you can see in this image over here that you can see the freezing temperatures encroaching upon a summer beach with a Ferris wheel around it, right? Now let me go open this back up real quick. Hold on, I'm going to do something here. With the Ferris wheel in that picture. Now check this out. All right, just pointing something out here. On July 4th, look at that Ferris wheel. July 4th, fireworks. And then you got a Ferris wheel. And then it's saying summer freeze, right? It's called Summer Freeze. And then you have in this movie, Ghostbusters, one of the first scenes is a beach freezing and there's a Ferris wheel right there. Isn't that funny? That's the kind of stuff I'm talking about. They're programming climate change and this kind of stuff into people's minds. They are programming this into people's minds. And now they're just pulling it off. They're literally pulling it off. And this post, this summer snow post, was from a Florida-based meteorologist that's talking about it, from the Post, Matt Devitt. All right. And he's warning that these effects are from Saturday evening through Monday morning to June 29th. So in the next 2 days, they're going to get 8 to 16 inches of snow in Montana and Idaho. That's wild. That is wild. I don't know about you, but that is what we call man-manipulated weather. I just call them government storms, man. It's government storms, bro. All right. Now, I'm going to just quickly go over the new Ebola numbers. 1,203 confirmed cases. This is not suspected cases anymore. They're not even giving us those numbers anymore. They're not even telling us, because there's so many, how many suspected cases there actually are. We're talking confirmed numbers, 1,203 plus 48 for June 26th, yesterday. This is yesterday's numbers. There was 48 new cases just yesterday that were confirmed. All right. There's more people that died than are recovering. I've noticed probably about a 10 to 15% chance of recovery from these numbers. But Uganda has confirmed cases now. obviously. And then now France has their first confirmed case. These are, again, not suspected cases. The one case in France is a doctor. He's a doctor, and I read the article yesterday where they won't even tell you how long he was in France before he was confirmed to have this, and then they kicked into action once he was confirmed to have it. Once they confirmed it, then they put him into like a special facility, right? But until then, right? Now, here's where it gets scary. Nearly 300 people with Ebola, confirmed with Ebola, are unknown in the DR of Congo. The whereabouts of 300 people are unknown that have confirmed Ebola. It says fears over huge community transmission as modeling predicts thousands of deaths. It predicts thousands of deaths in the DRC by September. Thousands. And we got all sorts of people willy-nilly coming into America right now for the FIFA World Cup. For that FIFA World Cup, man. Hold on one second. And it's funny because the Economist cover that they come out with predicted a whole lot of stuff and has been hyper accurate, in my opinion, as to foretelling what this is happening this year. And then even Dabu77 come out with there's this book, I forget the name of it. Hold on, let me look it up because I got a copy of it yesterday. Hold on. It's called The Fourth Turning by William Strauss. By William Strauss, The Fourth Turning. And he's saying that there's like these cycles that happen in America, and that 2026 is like the culmination of one of these cycles. And he's basically saying something big has to happen. I mean, you can be a year off even with something like that. And even if dude, we're on the cusp of something huge and people don't even know. But FIFA World Cup comes to America, and you got, vaccines on here, and you got medications and stuff. I mean, it's pretty wild. The 250-year anniversary cake, July 4th, the missiles, we've been at, war with Iran, the one thing that perplexes me that really is concerning is that fist that has that handcuff around it. And that is the biggest, if you look at everything on this, it's basically the biggest eye-catching thing on this soccer ball. And, we've seen wars with shipping of oil. And then you have this cargo carrier where they would put the barrels of oil on a ship like this, and it's at war in this. And then you got drones that are dropping and delivering stuff off. You got robots that are delivering stuff. I mean, the penny being devalued in the center of the photo on this piece of paper. You got the two swords. And then you got the penny devaluing. We got rid of the penny in 2026. Just about almost half of the stuff on this thing has happened already. And the other half is happening. And so don't tell me that whatever's happening right now isn't orchestrated. And they're saying that 300 people with Ebola and their whereabouts are unknown. Who have tested positive for Ebola in the Democratic Republic of the Congo is unknown, according to Africa's top public health official. The whereabouts of these people. The humanitarian crisis amid the conflict in the affected areas means more than 1 million people are living in camps to which health workers have no access. Are you listening? Are you listening? Are you listening now? How bad this is? I'm telling you folks, man. I'm telling you folks. Been trying to warn you. I ain't changed my stance. Have you noticed, like, with any of the videos that I've been doing a little Doc Marquis stuff, getting those videos out there because I think they're important. And the information he shares. But, I have not come on and been like, well, Ebola's fine now. We're all good to go. And the oil's back, flowing the way it's supposed to. No, I have not said any of that. My stance stays the same. I've always believed that there's going to be another pandemic, and I've always believed that they're going to bring about Agenda 2030, and that all the things that the World Economic Forum and the United Nations says they're going to do, they're going to do. I believe it. It says here, obviously, 1 million people are living in camps to which health workers have no access. Dr. Jean Kaseya, Director General of the Africa Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, said on Thursday. His comments came as projections from the World Health Organization's Africa Regional Office, published in the Lancet Infectious Diseases Journal, predicted there will be about 8,210 cases, that's confirmed, and 1,420 deaths by mid-September. By mid-September, folks. That's insane. And I'll be honest with you, I think it could be a whole lot worse than that. I really do. But that is the WHO's predictions. The modeling suggests the outbreak had a 70% chance of spreading to neighboring South Sudan in the coming weeks. There have been 1,118 confirmed cases and 291 deaths to date in the DRC, as well as 20 cases and 2 deaths in neighboring Uganda, and 1 positive in France. Announced that a doctor who had been working in the DRC had tested positive on his return. That's not what they said in other articles. Hold on. Excuse me. His employer, medical NGO Alima, said they were working to understand how the contamination may have occurred. So they don't know where that come from. That's reassuring. Figures on the number of patients who have recovered and those being treated, as well as deaths, indicate 297 people who have tested positive are unaccounted for. So almost 300 people. This is a concern that we have. Where are these people? Asked Kaseya. DRC authorities said on Thursday that anyone who had been in effect, I'll be honest with you, you know where they've been? You want to know where they're at? They probably fled the country and are in neighboring countries, and Ebola takes 21 days to incubate. 21 days to incubate. So you won't really know too much about what's happened with the FIFA World Cup until like 30 days after the FIFA World Cup's, probably here. There are some people out there, and I will tell you that there are some people out there that are saying, I don't know if I believe it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I believe it, but they're saying that there are terrorists that have kidnapped Ebola patients and are shipping them to certain countries. All right? Shipping them to certain countries. So, this is something that I think is getting out of control. I don't know about y'all, but there's a guy that ran numbers, and he stated that this would have had to have been going on for 5 months for the numbers to be at where they're at. There was such a slow response. And we have all these people like, Bill Gates and, all these, idiots like Fauci and, Peter flipping Hotez and all these retards. They literally are stating that this stuff is coming, and they're saying we have to prepare for the next one. I can literally play a clip of Peter Hotez rambling on and on about different viruses. And he says, we're going to have to get a good team on this and blah, blah, blah. Well, you didn't do it this time. And look where we're at right now. And even with the Doge stuff, even Elon Musk admitted publicly that when they did all the Doge stuff, that there was that Ebola response funding that got cut, but he said they replaced it back really quickly. I don't know about that. I don't think so, Tim. I don't believe you. I'm sorry. I don't believe you. But so anyways, where are we at here? The outbreak caused by the Bundibugyo strain of the virus is the largest on record for 5 weeks after declaration. So 5 weeks we've been into this, and already this many people are sick and dead. At the same stage, the West Africa outbreak of 2014 and 2016, which infected more than 28,000 people and killed more than 11,000, had 239 cases and 160 deaths. Hold on, let's at the same stage. So let's break this down here. So at the same stage, there were only 239 cases and 160 deaths. So this is way worse what's happening right now than at this stage back in 2014 when when the worst Ebola outbreak ever happened. There's 28,000 people that had it, and it killed more than 11,000. And at the stage where we're at right now, there was 239,000 cases, or sorry, oh my goodness, 239 cases, only 239. And right now we have over 1,100 cases. We have over 4 times the cases, and we have 100 and something more deaths than where they're at when at this stage. So it tells you how bad it actually is. Computer models were used by the WHO to simulate 3 trajectories: low, central, or high transmissibility. And I'm going to be honest with you. I know people are going to think I'm fear mongering, right now. All right, but I've seen medical papers from colleges that talk about Ebola can be transmitted through the air, like by droplet. And I've read it publicly here. Like there's videos. If you go through the past, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 videos I did, it's got to be in there somewhere. Maybe a little bit more than that. But I'm telling you right now, it wasn't 5 weeks ago. I came out with that video less than 5 weeks ago, and I read when I showed where they're saying that, like, by droplet, Ebola can be spread. So, I mean, you can go ahead and believe the people that have been lying to you the whole entire damn time, but I don't. I don't believe them one bit. All right. So, just making that very clear right now. It says there are signs that the DRC's response is working to slow transmission. The author said, and current figures are most in line with the central scenario, predicting between 6,636 and 10,287 cases by the 16th of September. The worst case scenario projects 66,000 confirmed cases by September. And how many suspected cases with that kind of number? How many suspected cases? Because they only need so much to declare a pandemic, right? Like, that's just the facts. It didn't take a whole lot of COVID-19 patients for states to start locking down. So get with the program here, right? Because if this gets to a few more countries, the powers that be are going to use it to their advantage, whether it's real or not. I don't care. I'm telling you, there's an end game coming, and it's called Agenda 2030, 15-minute cities, checkpoints. Let me see your papers. Do you have your employee badge? Show me where you're going. You can't leave this 15-minute city area. You're not, you don't have clearance for that sort of mentality that's coming. All right. Kaseya said 30% of new cases are among known contacts of confirmed cases, indicating huge, twice. Look at this. Huge community transmission. Authorities intend to recruit 20,000 community health workers from the local area, because, they're already in it, to boost contact tracing efforts. So they need 20,000 people for contact tracing. Something bigger is going on, folks, and they ain't telling you. Bed occupancy in Ebola treatment centers is at 95%. And it says, and this is a quote, "We didn't reach the peak yet," he added. He said camps in which displaced people were living have cases where there's there's a million people displaced in camps right now, and there's cases of this in there. And because we don't have access to these camps, we cannot have the contact tracing. Listen, because we don't have access to these camps, we cannot have the contact tracing. We cannot have a photo of what's happening there. We cannot stop this outbreak with resolving the humanitarian issue. This dude that works there, that is on boots on the ground, you're seeing right there that this is spiraling out of control so fast. And everybody just walking around, a lot of freaking enjoy your soccer. Enjoy the soccer. I hope it's worth it. If it goes down, I hope it's worth it, because I'm telling you, it was absolutely stupid to allow this to take place for sports. For sports. And greed. Lots and lots of money, lots and lots of betting, lots and lots of human trafficking. The blood of the children cries out. The innocence of the children cries out. The innocence of women and stuff that are being trafficked, it's crying out. All the abused, all the shattered souls, all the broken dreams are crying out. All of the sin is, the stench of it is wafting up to God. And I'm telling you, selective judgment's coming soon, people. And I don't know if America's going to see it before Jesus comes back, but I'm telling you right now, collapse has been happening all over this globe. And I'm telling you, it's coming for America. I'm warning you, it's coming for America. There's other people that are like prophets and prophetesses and things like that have, been accurate in the past and have spoken out saying that, there's cities that are going to fall. There's cities that are going to fall in America. And there's one lady, I forget her name. She went out and prophesied against LA, saying LA was going to burn, and then it did. And then she went to New York, warning New York it's going to burn. And David Wilkerson, man of God, I'd say a prophet too, accurate prophet, he foretold about 1,000 fires burning at once in New York City. 1,000 fires burning at once. And he said the Lord told him in his dream, he said he got kind of this notion that it was over food stamps, that's what the rioting was over, right? And so, what if there's a lockdown, and what if they cut food stamps and no one has food? I'm telling you, people are already starting to steal. People are already starting to steal. I mean, I see these videos where people are proud of what they steal, and they video their hauls and what they just stole from the store. And because of their stealing, you get charged more. They ain't gonna be out on the prices, and the money that they would have brought in. They're going to charge you, the paying consumer, more because of people out there stealing. And then they want you, to say, please help me stop all this nonsense. Well, we'll give you lower prices, but we got to put everything behind glass, and you can't buy or sell unless you have that mark. I mean, it's all heading in that direction, people. It's all heading in that direction. But right now, and I know I rabbit trail, but they're saying that they don't have access to these camps. They say over 1 million people. Up here, it was 1 million people displaced. What was it? Yeah, right here. Then 1 million people are living in camps to which health workers have no access. Then you come down here, and he said camps in which displaced people were living, 1 million, and they have cases right here. They have cases. And because we don't have access to these camps, we cannot have the contact tracing. We cannot have a photo of what's happening there. We cannot stop this outbreak without resolving the humanitarian issue of being able to get in where these displaced people are. And it takes lots and lots of people and lots of funding that they don't have. Africa CDC and the WHO had earlier said 518 million of health spending would be needed to tackle the outbreak. When humanitarian needs are added, the total rises to $1.4 billion, Kaseya said. Only about 13%, and this is going to come down to who wants to spend money to be able to save the world. You know what I mean? Like, they got something coming here. Says only about 13% of 910 million have been pledged to the response by international governments and organizations has so far been supplied, he said. So there's still a lot of money that they need, but I guess there's people stepping up to the plate. I don't know. We'll see. The first trial of drugs that may be able to treat the Bundibugyo virus is due to begin in the DRC next week. Oh, so they're just going to start injecting people with stuff. While a trial of an antiviral given to contacts to prevent them developing the disease will begin a week later. So, yeah, I mean, this is unnerving to say the least. 300 people with Ebola, they do not know where they went. They have disappeared. And there are cases on these places. I mean, dude, this is bad. This is really bad. And I'm not trying to make it a joke. I'm not trying to laugh. I kind of laugh sometimes when I take things so seriously. Like, it's almost laughable. It's so insane, right? I mean, like, look at all these people just hanging out, just hanging out where the Ebola patients are. I mean, I don't know what this dude is doing. He's jumping off a truck or something. But anyways, all these people are gathered around. Look at all these tents everywhere. These people, I'm telling you, they're prime targets for this. This is a calling. I don't care what you say, even if it's just for the DRC, if it never spreads past it. This is a calling. Jean Casea, director of the Africa Centers for Disease Control. We just read stuff that they said, so I'm not going to reread this. But the headline is Africa CDC warns Congo Ebola outbreak could be the worst in history. Look at that. The worst in history is what Breitbart is reporting. I mean, I don't know if y'all want to take this seriously or anything like that. Like I was saying in the beginning that there was fishy stuff about this that just didn't make sense. And I'm like, this had to have been going on an awful lot longer than what they're saying. Hold on, I'm getting a drink. So, and I don't trust anything that they say. They're not even giving us suspected cases anymore. At first, they were giving us suspected cases. They were at least, kind of, putting it out there. Hold on 1 second. My stinking phone's going off. They were at least forgot what I was saying. Anyways, I'm going to go to the next thing here. Hold on. So now even Israel is locking down from these countries. It's getting to that point now for them. Israel has imposed strict travel restrictions on foreign nationals from 5 African countries, the DRC, South Sudan, Rwanda, Kenya, and Uganda. So, yeah, I mean, they're even starting to lock down and stuff over the situation. So, that's what I got to say about Ebola right now. And, when we look at the Economist cover, you got these vaccines and they got this Ebola vaccine coming out, man. I don't know if there's 2 different Ebola vaccines or if it's 2 stages of Ebola vaccines, but that at least one of those syringes on this ball, I think is that Ebola vaccine. I think it is. I really do. So anyways, now this was quite a few days ago, and I just want to show that he said it. Quite a few days ago, Trump said this.
Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. There are reserves all over the world, and we would really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see Bedlam?
So he says, you want to see Bedlam? All right. And Bedlam is like Mad Max, like, all these like crazy rusty vehicles and, the Badlands and, everybody's racing and the gold is the gasoline. All right, is what Bedlam is, kind of giving you a picture of what that means. And he's saying at this time, and this was on the 17th, 10 days ago, almost 2 weeks ago, more than a week ago, he says in 4 weeks, if things don't open up, it's going to be bad. And he says, you want to see Bedlam? And now we're almost 2 weeks into that, and Trump just struck Iran yesterday, I think it was, on the coast, because Iran, I think, went after one of our ships or, somebody. Anyways, there was an exchange, and Iran's like, you know what? Screw you guys. You broke your promise. But then America is like, dude, you broke your promise, and you came at us. We were just responding, but then Iran gaslights. Iran is a narcissistic gaslighting, entity that, they do something, and then when you do something back, oh, you instigated. You know what I mean? Total narcissism, but it's true. That's what's happening right now, okay? The straits are not open. They have not opened. They have been closed for 5 weeks. And Trump at this time, 10 days ago, said that if we go on another 4 weeks, it's going to be Bedlam. And I'm talking Mad Max. I'm talking Road Warrior sort of stuff is what he's saying. And so I don't know if it's going to be that bad, but I know that they're already, from what Owen Schroyer is saying, they're already conserving gas in Texas and only allowing a $50 limit. only a $50 limit. So they're already doing this in other countries. And now it's coming here. I warned you. I said in the summer months, it's going to come. I said probably around July 4th. Now they're saying around July 4th is when we're going to hit the bottom of these tanks. And it's on purpose. I think it's on purpose. If it happens, this is orchestrated to a T. This is orchestrated to a T. They want to get this thing kicked off, and they ain't got much time left. If the Illuminati and the New World Order and the powers that be and the Satanists and all these people working together don't get the show on the road, they're not going to meet their deadline for the Great Tribulation and for the rise of the Antichrist. They have to get this stuff going. There has to be a falling away. There has to be all this stuff taking place. And I'm just trying to be here, and I have been here for 4 years saying, hey, look, Christians, 4 years ago, I had people mad at me saying, if I told you, like, let me put it this way. When I first started, I was warning people we could probably see a few things. I had people get mad at me that first year I started and said, nope, the rapture's happening this year because the watchman told us. And I say, okay, whatever. I didn't believe it, but that's what they believed. And would they have believed me if I told them that we're going to be here at least 4 more years? Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, no. You talk to a person who sets dates and you try to tell them that there's a year or 2 left, they lose their minds. And there's instant depression. I'm talking people get straight nasty. I've heard, and I'm very much so pre-tribulation believer myself, for the rapture. But I've heard people that are pre-tribulation rapture believers say people that are post and mid-trib get really nasty to pre-tribbers. Wait until you upset a pre-tribber and tell them that there's a few days left or a year left or 2 years left before we go home. Watch them get nasty. All right? All right, watch them get nasty. So my point is, I don't understand any of that. I don't understand any of that comment. But my point is that I was warning people back then for Christians to prepare to go through a few things. And I'm still trying to remind Christians to prepare because it seems that chaos is brewing. And I'm not saying the rapture is not coming tomorrow, but I'm also not telling you it's going to come tomorrow. All right. And we could see a few things, and it's lining up to get pretty nasty. I think, we make a good case here on this channel about where we're at, politically, economically, even religiously, physically, spiritually, all of this stuff. It all matters and it all comes into play. And right now, the straits have not opened up. The Strait of Hormuz has not opened up. It has not opened up for even a short period of time. And that's so true. I agree with this comment. We go through life with trials and tribulations. However, the church will be spared from the great tribulation. Absolutely. There is a difference between tribulation and great tribulation. There is a difference between chastisement and the wrath of God. And I think that America has a humbling coming before we get out of here. I do. I don't think Americans, I don't think you're getting out of it scot-free like you think you are. It's already been rough. It's already been difficult. So even if we went home today, I can still say, like, hey, it was rough getting here. And it's been. We went through a pandemic, like we've gone through. I mean, how many people have lost their homes to fires and things like that? Like, I have friends that have had their houses burned down and all sorts of crazy stuff take place getting to this period in time where we're at right now. And I'm just saying it's not getting any easier, in what everything that is kind of happening right now is leading me to believe it's actually going to amplify and get a whole lot worse before it gets easier, and so, I want people to be encouraged to know Jesus is coming soon. But dude, you could die going to the grocery store tomorrow. Like, you could just be driving and just not make it, man. And so we can't sit here and live our lives putting all our eggs in one basket. All right. Unless that's when it comes to Jesus, but live your life according to what Jesus asked you to be doing. Jesus didn't ask you to spend all your time worrying about the rapture. He's got it covered. I promise you. If you're serving the Lord, everything is going to pan out. I promise you. But I tell you right now, God needs us to witness to people more than he needs you to figure out the date of the rapture. God needs you to win souls in the mighty name of Jesus Christ, to plant seed, water seed, and help in this harvest more than he needs you to worry about getting out of here. I promise you that that's the case. Jesus is patient and long suffering for the fruit of the earth, that none should perish. All right. And so I believe, and I've researched this. I've researched this quite a bit, near-death experiences and people who have died and seen a glimpse of heaven and had a moment, and have come back. And there's all these common factors, and some of these people, they don't even know each other. They don't see each other's stories. Like I'm serious. Like there is some real evidence in this stuff, and these people say. And I've noticed a common factor is that when you first enter the gates of heaven, everybody that you witness to, everybody that you led to Jesus Christ will meet you at those pearly gates. They will meet you at those pearly gates. Think about it for a moment. I want to break this down. Like, think about this for a moment. All right, think about this for a moment. You spend years laboring in the field, trying to bring in a harvest, spreading the name of Jesus Christ. I mean, literally have a little wooden box on a corner with a bullhorn and saying, Jesus is knocking on the door of your heart today. And shouting it as loud as you possibly can, trying to warn the world of the destruction that's coming. Everybody worries about this life and the great tribulation this and great tribulation that. The wrath of God is something to fear. It's a fearful thing to fall into the hand of the living God. But I'll tell you what's scarier, hell. I'll tell you what's even scarier, the lake of fire, which is the second death. I'm telling you right now, there are people dying out there, and we have a chance in a moment in time to win souls for Jesus Christ and to give it our all, to fight for truth. And you're telling me you're going to pass that up and worry about getting out of here? Man, I can't wait to stay for whatever battle is left while I'm still here. I do believe the bride is going home, but I believe people should be excited to labor in the field. Jesus knows your heart. You ain't hiding anything from the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords, I promise you. God knows if you have a heart to serve or if you're in this for yourself. Jesus says, if you believe in me and confess with your mouth and believe in your heart, you're saved. But man, God's going to open the books when we get to that Bema seat. He's going to open the books. He's going to say, you had a chance to do this. Did you step up to the plate? You saw it was coming. You saw the Ebola spread, and you saw the chaos coming. You saw everything happen, and you saw the pandemic happen. You saw the lockdown happen. You saw the 15-minute cities coming. You saw the concentration camps getting built. You saw, Christians getting slaughtered. What did you do about it? Did you labor in the field? Did you did you just bury your talent in the sand? There are people that are going to see a return. There's people that are going to invest a lot and see a big return. There's going to be people that invest a little and see a little return. And then there's people that are going to literally sit back and worry about themselves the whole entire time. That is Satan's goal, to get you to only focus on yourself, to be selfish, to sit inside, and to never think about anybody else in your life. That's the goal, to get you feeling sorry for yourself, because when you're sorry for yourself, you are ineffective in witnessing to the nations. And I want to see a whole bunch of people at the gate of heaven when I get there, people maybe I never even met. I don't know if you know the Lord Jesus Christ in as your Savior, but if you choose, and this channel help maybe, show you that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life, maybe I'll see you there. But my point is that the people that you witness to are going to meet you at the gates. And so it's time to witness, because time is short. The people that labor in the field at the last minute before, you go, it's time, they shut the field down for the night and everybody goes home and eats some dinner. Those people get paid the same wage as the people that have been laboring in the field all day. And I'm saying that you can jump right on board and get paid the same wage by the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords if you just start right now. It comes down to fearlessness. Where do you stand? Where is your faith in Christ? Because if you're worried about getting your teeth knocked down your throat for the name of Jesus Christ, don't worry about that. That's not for you to worry about. What you need to worry about is if you're being obedient. And we all struggle with listening to our parents, right? We all have struggled, and we've all struggled in listening to the Lord and doing what we're told to do. But do you really want to fail him on one of the most important commissions that he gave you to do? And that's to witness in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. I mean, reach out and tell someone about Jesus today, would you? Please? Now, moving on. There is a movie that has come out that Elon Musk even shared. This is Elon Musk's sharing of it, and it's called Citizen Vigilante. And when it comes to Apple TV, which is what it's on, Germany just banned Citizen Vigilante, but it's number 2 next to Hail Mary on Apple TV. And I will tell you, there are graphic scenes in it, and I'm going to be honest with you what they are, because you need to know before you watch it in front of your children or something like that. But there are graphic scenes in it of like sexual promiscuity. I don't know why they had to throw it in there, but there's like human trafficking and all that stuff. I mean, it's messed up, but it is about this dude that goes around slaughtering illegal immigrants, because these illegal immigrants and the rape gangs and all that stuff. So here's the thing, and this is what I've been talking about for a very long time, and that is the Albert Pike 3 World Wars. This kind of a movie plays into just that. And I'm going to read it fast here, and I promise you this is an accurate document. I've talked about, I need to just have a video that I record that when I need to talk about this, it's just kind of, I can just play it, right? So I don't have to keep saying it. But this is an accurate document. There are people out there that will argue that all the day long, and I'll argue with them all the day long, but that's for another day and another time, so I can speed this up. It says the Third World War must be fermented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati. Agentur means agents. Agents of the Illuminati. So the Illuminati are causing this to happen. And Albert Pike, a Freemason, and Giuseppe Mazzini, who was the successor to Adam Weishaupt after the founder of the Illuminati died, he passed it to Giuseppe Mazzini. They got together and wrote out these 3 world wars, and they're happening to a T. But so it's the Illuminati that are doing this, and they're causing this between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The Illuminati controls Zionism. Zionism has nothing to do with Judaism. Nothing. It's its own different thing. Those that say they're Jews and are not, but are of the synagogue of Satan. Zion also has nothing to do with Zionism. God calls Israel Zion. Zion has nothing to do with Zionism as well. But they want this clash between the Jews and the Muslims. It says the war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the state of Israel, mutually destroy each other. We're seeing the slow burn process of that right now that will culminate with Ezekiel 38 and 39. All right. Now, it says, meanwhile, the other nations, this is the rest of us, once more divided on this issue, will be constrained to fight. Just like in Citizen Vigilante here, be constrained to fight. Right here, be constrained to fight. Let me get back here. Be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economical exhaustion. So it's going to be a heck of a battle. It says that the Illuminati is saying we shall unleash the nihilists and the atheists. The nihilists and atheists, obviously, they're godless commies, but they don't believe there's any meaning to life. Humans are just animals. They're the virus. They should just die off. That's what nihilism is. A lot of your like Antifa and your radical extremist groups and your multiple letter groups and things like that are nihilists. I will tell you that the multi-letter movement, the free sexual movement that is happening in this country are nihilists. If you are same sex, you are against humanity. There is no ability to reproduce in that technically. So you might, be okay with mankind as it is, but you don't believe in a future for mankind. So it ends up in nihilism, unfortunately. Only people can adopt that participate in that. So it ends up in nihilism. And then, you have, again, like your Antifa radicals and things like that, and revolutionaries and whatnot that, are nihilists as well. And it says that they will unleash them and provoke a formidable social cataclysm, like in Citizen Vigilante, all right? A formidable social cataclysm, which in all its horror will show clearly to the nations the effects of absolute atheism, the origin of savagery, and of the most bloody turmoil. So they want the citizens, it says then everywhere, the citizens obliged, you're going to have to defend themselves. You're going to have to defend yourself against the world minority, these people, these replacement migration people, and the nihilists and the atheists. The world minority of revolutionaries will exterminate those destroyers of civilization. They will exterminate those destroyers of civilization right here. That's the propaganda movie right here, and it is like number 2 on Apple TV, but millions of people are seeing this thing already. Citizen Vigilante, and it is not a movie for kids, and so that Albert Pike stuff, man, it just rings out, man, when I see a movie like this, and then you have people like Elon Musk right here sharing the movie. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, it's all about, I'll just show this at the end here. But it's all about, just this dude becoming a citizen vigilante because all the migrant gangs and things like that. They're telling you what they're going to do. They're telling you what you're going to have to do if you want your country back. They're putting it out there. They're putting it out there, what they want, what the Satanists want. And when you go do that, you are playing into the satanic hand. This world is going to fall. It cannot be saved. You cannot save the old world and have it back. It is gone, long gone. It is not worth putting your life on the line to fight for. It is not putting your family in danger to fight for. The only thing you should be fighting for is spreading the name of Jesus Christ and keeping your family safe and staying home with your family. Because I'm telling you, there is a civolutionary war coming. And I tell you, I just recently, and I can speak freely, but I just recently had a new neighbor moved in, and I have a heart for them already, but they are liberal as liberal can be. They're liberal as liberal can be, and they want nothing to do with Jesus. But I'm going to keep pushing, and I'm going to keep trying, because I don't back down. Sometimes it's a slow burn, and you got to let things play out, let people ask questions. But I'm telling you right now, it's up to us to even minister to people who are liberals and Democrats and things like that. Like, I'm not even a Republican. I'm just pro-Jesus, man. I'm pro-Jesus. And I see disaster coming. I see violence on our horizon. I see difficult times. And I'm just here to warn people, right? That's all I'm trying to do, is just say, hey, look, heads up, prepare yourselves. Oil shortages are going to get worse. This Ebola stuff is going to get worse. I don't know what is going to be the end game with the Ebola, but I do know with what, if it does reach a far enough capacity, it's going to end up triggering a lockdown. They're going to end up having their Agenda 2030. Listen, I told you, something has to happen in the next 4 years, 3.5 years now. In the next 3.5 years, and they say it's going to be before the year 2030. So we'll say in the next 2.5 years, that's so huge that it changes the face of the world as we know it. And if you would realize that, you would realize something chaotic, something catastrophic, some kind of calamity or crisis is coming that is going to blow things out of proportion. And I don't know if it's Ebola. I don't know if it's the economy. I don't know if it is, like mass violence, like protests, things like that. Like if some person gets assassinated or some person dies or whatever, and then people just get really uppity about it, like the George Floyd stuff. And like after Charlie Kirk, dude, I've never seen the right so ready for war after as when after Charlie Kirk got assassinated. It was insane. The tension, you could cut it with a knife, and the tension is building, and they're already preparing for war over in Ireland, in Europe, in England, in Great Britain. They are preparing for war to take their country back because the UN's paying them to move in. And I showed you right at the beginning of the video. Right at the beginning of the video, a dude literally saying he's paid $500 a week by the United Nations, and that when he moved to Ireland, okay, he moved with, he said like 100 people. He said with 9 families, so 10 people in each family, I'm assuming, right? So they move in, and he's saying he's paid $500 a week for his family by the United Nations, and that he said the United Nations brought him in from Syria to Jordan, and then from Jordan to Ireland. You see where we're at now? And look what's happening in America, and there's only certain people that are being allowed to stay in America, and they're all Muslim. They're all Muslim. I have not seen barely any Muslim getting taken out of here. Anybody from Syria or Iran or, Afghanistan or Iraq, or any of these people that are here illegally, I don't see ICE taking any of those people out of the country. It's always like Hispanic people from South America in general, okay, and sending them people back, whether it be from Venezuela or Mexico or whatever. But those are the people you see getting rounded up. All right. But I'm telling you right now, that's not what's coming. And then you listen to what these mosques are saying. And they're telling that you listen to you. They got people who translate what they're saying, and they're literally talking about bringing the sword to America. I heard one Mandani was at. I was watching a video earlier where Mandani was literally in the mosque. He was literally at the front row, and this cleric was literally, singing about bringing the sword to America to kill the infidels. And someone translated it, and he's sitting there like nodding his head, like, yeah, yeah. Like, I'm telling you, there's people in politics all over the place that are radical Islam. And just like they're pitting Israel and the Muslims against each other over in the Middle East, I'm telling you, it's coming to America, whether you want to think so or not. And movies like Citizen Vigilante help pave that path. They help pave that path. This movie right here. And I'm not saying that, you got to fight for protection, yeah. But to go out and start doing violence, in the moment, if you get violence that's facing you, handle it. Do what you got to do to protect your family, but don't go out looking for it. Don't go out looking for it like they do. Just handle business. God will be on your side. God will make your whatever you have swift and accurate, man. And I pray that God, ignores all those heathens' prayers, man. Because I'm telling you right now, all right, this war is coming. I call it a civolutionary war because you have not only Americans against Americans, which would be a civil war, but you have people from the outside coming in, which makes it a revolutionary war. So I call it a civolutionary war because it's going to be like a hybrid war. And it's going to be a regular warfare. They're not fighting fair. They're not fighting fair anymore. You have to understand that right off the bat. There's no fighting fair anymore. I'll even share this real quick here. And Daily Mail is even reporting on how 2 violent gang rapes of teenage girls by migrants in Germany inspired a banned movie now being watched by millions around the world, to the horror of the liberal establishment. They're trying to ban it, but, this is it's about taking revenge on those that have been slaughtering people in their own country. That's what it's about. It's what it's about. Now, here is the United Nations, in their own words, admitting to replacement migration. United Nations meeting coverage and press releases. This is on March 17th of 2000. Listen, new report on replacement migration issued by UN Population Division. In the year 2000, New York, 17 March, the Population Division of the Department of Economic and Social Affairs has released a new report titled Replacement Migration. Is it a solution to declining and aging populations? No, it's so that way you can replace a population that doesn't agree with your Illuminati bullshit. All right. Replacement migration refers to the international migration that a country would need to prevent population decline. Yeah, your COVID shots took care of that. And population aging resulting from low fertility and mortality rates. Yeah, you took care of that as well. United Nations projections indicate that between 1995 and 2050, the population of Japan and virtually all countries of Europe will most likely decline. Because of what you're doing to us. You're killing us. You and your stupid chemtrails and your stupid vaccines. You're stupid. You're an idiot. Everybody running this world, you're a bunch of morons. All right? It says here, replacement migration. Is it a solution to declining and aging populations? It says United Nations projections indicate that over the next 50 years, the populations of virtually all countries of Europe, as well as Japan, will face population decline and population aging. The new challenges of declining and aging populations will require comprehensive reassessments of many established policies and programs, including those relating to international migration. Did you know that they have it planned in Agenda 2030? They have it planned that you will have to house a migrant in your home. I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's in their documents. You will have to house a migrant in your home. You will have to have a legal migrant in your home. All right? It's insane. It's insane to me. All right? And it says here, focusing on these 2 striking and critical population trends, the report considers replacement migration for 8 low fertility countries. Listen up. France, Germany, Italy, all those are happening. Japan, you notice how they're arresting them in Japan, though? Republic of Korea, the Russian Federation, the United Kingdom, and United States. Right there, United Kingdom. Look what's happening in the United Kingdom. United States, the United States. It's coming for you, United States. You think you're exempt. You think you're untouchable. You act like that rich kid that can't get punched in the teeth. But I'm telling you, you can. And I assure you, you will. I'm telling you, it's coming. Replacement migration refers to the international migration that a country would need to offset population decline and population aging resulting from low fertility and mortality rates. Right there, in the United Nations' own words, they're admitting to replacement migration. They're admitting to replacement migration. So, through climate change, supposedly, and their mumbo jumbo that they got going on, and through them paying migrants to come to these countries, and there's the list of the countries again: France, Germany, Italy, Japan, Republic of Korea, Russia Federation, United Kingdom, and the United States of America. It says in 2 regions, Europe and the European Union, replacement migration refers to the international migration that a country would need to offset population decline. But they're bringing them in, and they're saying now in America, at one point, I remember in America, they said they had enough illegal migrants here in America to account for like 11 states. They could populate the population of 11 of our states. That means that out of 50 states, that's pretty much about 15 to 20% of I mean, so there's basically 4 or 5 Americans to every, immigrant. But then you have the liberals and the Dems that will side with the immigrants and fight with the immigrants. You know what I mean? I ain't fighting nobody, man, and I ain't getting on no trains. Damn you and your trains and your concentration camps. Damn you to hell. I'm telling you right now, I won't go on them. I'd rather die. And I'm going to tell you right now, my family ain't getting on them neither. And I'm telling you right now, you don't want to go on them either, because what comes next after that is nasty. But anybody who doesn't get with the program is going to be an undesirable and is going to be outcast. They have this digital credit score coming, this digital ID stuff, digital central bank digital currency. All of it's coming. It will happen. Mark my words, it will happen. So I'm ending it today. I hope you all feel inspired to go out and witness while you have time to witness, because I'm telling you, this stuff ain't going away. It's not going away. I don't see any slowdown in the near future at all with this. And I'll come out and say, well, it seems like it's slowing down a little bit, but I don't see any slowdown, nor have I seen it slow down. So I'm here to warn you, buckle up, Buttercup, and keep your eyes focused on Jesus. Be praying, asking God for protection, asking God to protect your family. I'll be praying for you guys as well. May God bless you all. May he keep you in these last days. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.